The news, I mean, it just hit the boxing world like a physical blow.
It really did.
Just 10 days before, Anthony Joshua had this incredible knockout victory over Jake Paul in Miami.
A huge win.
A huge win, and it immediately put everyone's focus on that massive 2026 fight against Tyson Fury. The mood was just, it was pure triumph.
A career high, for sure.
And then on December 29th, all of that just stopped. That triumph turned just violently into tragedy.
Okay.
Let's unpack this. We're going to do a deep dive into all the source material we have, the official reports, police statements, the media coverage from all over the world that details this fatal car crash. Our mission here is to get past that initial shock, to really synthesize the facts for you and understand the full context of what happened.
Yeah, and the sources we're looking at are pretty diverse. We've got official statements from Nigeria's Federal Road Safety Corps, which they call the FRSC.
Right.
We also have local law enforcement, statements from Joshua's own promotional team, and then, of course, the big international outlets like AP News, The Guardian, and Sky News.
So the goal is to filter out the rumors and just focus on what's been verified.
Exactly. The verifiable details of the incident itself, the investigation, and, the very serious fallout.
Okay, so let's anchor this with the core facts. The accident itself. It happened on Monday, December 29th, 2025, in Nigeria.
That's right. The location is key. It was on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway near a town called Sagamu in Ogun State.
And this wasn't some, quiet country road. The sources make a big deal about this specific highway.
They do, and that's essential context. They describe it as Nigeria's most critical economic artery.
So, incredibly busy.
Incredibly. It connects the port city of Lagos to the rest of the country, so you have this massive volume of trucks, commercial traffic, passenger cars. It's one of its busiest and, frankly, most challenging highways.
Which means accidents aren't uncommon, I'd imagine.
Unfortunately, no. But when it involves a global figure like Joshua, the scrutiny just amplifies everything.
We know he was in a Lexus SUV when the crash happened. What exactly was the collision?
The official reports all confirm that the SUV struck a stationary truck.
A stationary truck.
Yes, and that detail is really important because it immediately focused the FRSC on a few possibilities. Was the truck disabled? Was it parked improperly? Or was it just stopped in traffic?
And what are they saying so far? What's the preliminary cost?
Well, their initial assessment, which they did pretty much right at the scene, centers on driver behavior.
Okay.
Their working hypothesis is that the collision happened while the SUV was trying to overtake another vehicle.
So an overtaking maneuver on a highway we've just established is chaotic and packed.
Precisely. And the initial findings strongly suggest that high speed was a primary factor.
The suspected factor, at least.
The suspected factor, yes. The reports indicate that the driver, while trying to pass, lost control and then crashed into that truck. But they are still looking at road conditions, visibility, things like that.
So it's that classic deadly mix of circumstances.
Yeah.
High speed in a really challenging environment.
Exactly. And the FRSC has been very careful to say, this is a caveat, the full investigation is still active.
Well, of course.
They're doing crash reconstruction, looking at skid marks, damage to the vehicles. They want definitive proof. But the focus right now is loss of control during a high-speed overtake.
Okay, so if the focus is on what happened with the vehicle, let's pivot to the people inside. This is where the story becomes just heartbreakingly clear.
It really is the ultimate tragedy here. The two individuals who were confirmed deceased at the scene were Sagamu and Kevin Latif Ayodele.
And the sources are clear that these weren't just staff members.
No, not at all. They were universally described as close friends, as integral, trusted members of his inner circle.
Gami was his strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Ayodele was a longtime trainer. I mean, these are the guys who got him ready for that Jake Paul fight.
These are the men directly responsible for that incredible physical preparation we saw just days earlier. The loss is just immense, personally and professionally.
And what happened immediately after?
Their bodies were transported to a morgue there in Sagamu. The impact of losing them, especially at the same time, on his entire professional structure, it's just impossible to overstate.
It leaves a huge void.
A gaping void. People close to the camp said they weren't just experts. They were the emotional anchors for him during training.
Let's talk about Anthony Joshua's status. That was the headline that went around the world. Given how severe the wreck looked in photos, there was a lot of concern.
A lot of concern and some initial confusion.
So what's the definitive report on his condition?
The reports, drawing from his promoter and Nigerian medical officials, have been consistent. Anthony Joshua is in stable condition in a local hospital there.
That news came out relatively quickly, didn't it, considering the severity?
It did. And you're right, when those first images of the wreckage started circulating online, the alarm was extremely high.
I can imagine.
But the first reliable reports, especially from Eddie Hearn, confirmed that Joshua was actually conscious and responsive at the crash scene. Yeah. So he avoided any immediate life-threatening injuries. The medical staff confirmed he didn't need emergency surgery. He's just being kept under observation now to monitor for anything that might not have been immediately apparent.
And were there other people in the SUV with them?
Yes, the sources say there were several other people. At least one other passenger was injured and needed to be hospitalized.
Okay.
But the others, thankfully, managed to escape without serious physical harm. It just shows you how violent and localized the impact must have been inside the vehicle.
This is all so shocking on its own, but we really need to connect it to the bigger picture. The whiplash from, discussing a billion-dollar fight to this. It's a huge part of the story.
You really can't overstate the moment he was in.
Mm-hmm.
He's 36. He just delivered this spectacular knockout. It was seen as a complete career rejuvenation.
It absolutely was. It proved he still had that power.
It did, and the sources confirm that talks immediately ramped up for that undisputed heavyweight showdown with Tyson Fury in 2026.
Which is arguably the biggest fight in the sport.
The biggest. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, legacy-defining stuff. His professional life was at a fever pitch.
So that's the big question then. Why was he thousands of miles away near Sagamu and not, in London or Vegas negotiating?
And this is where the personal story comes right into focus. He was born in Watford in England, but he has incredibly deep Nigerian roots. Both his parents are Nigerian.
So this wasn't a business trip?
No, not at all. He was visiting family in Sagamu, the same region where the crash happened. He was there to relax, to reconnect.
So his global high-speed professional life literally collided with his personal history on that highway.
That's a perfect way to put it. The narrative tension is just profound. He was on his ancestral soil, likely seeking some peace after an intense fight camp.
Only to lose two of the people closest to him.
Yeah. The timing just transforms it from a tragic accident into this commentary on how quickly everything can be overturned.
Given who he is, both in the UK and in Nigeria, the official response was massive. Let's start with the political side in Nigeria.
The national response was immediate. The president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, actually called Anthony Joshua in the hospital.
The president himself.
Yes, and the official statement framed it as offering prayers and condolences, not just to Joshua, but crucially to the families of Sagamu and Kevin Iodel.
That says a lot about his status in the country, doesn't it?
It really does. It shows he's seen as a national hero, a global symbol for Nigeria. The president also spoke directly with Joshua's mother, which is a very personal touch. It signals that this isn't just a traffic incident, it's an event affecting a figure of national pride.
And what about the boxing world? Eddie Hearn, his promoter.
Eddie Hearn immediately went into crisis management mode. He put out a public statement with condolences, emphasizing how devastating the loss of Gami and Iodel was for the whole team.
And he confirmed he was in contact.
Yes, he made it clear he was in direct, consistent contact. The focus instantly shifted from booking the next fight to just managing the medical needs and the personal welfare of his star.
And beyond those official statements, what about the public reaction?
It was just immense shock, and it was really amplified by social media.
Because it happened on such a busy road.
Exactly. So photos, videos of the wreckage, the emergency response, it all circulated incredibly fast. Fans, commentators, everyone just expressed this collective sadness, especially so close to his recent win. It became a very public tragedy.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it sounds like the authorities are using this incident to highlight a larger problem.
That's a really important point. This is where the story pivots from personal tragedy to a national policy discussion. While they're waiting for the final investigation report, authorities immediately use the high profile of this crash to stress the need for better road safety enforcement on these critical highways.
So they're making a point about speed limits, safe overtaking.
All of it. The official statements basically say, look, the rules are in place precisely to prevent this exact type of fatal crash on arteries like the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
So what does this all mean for you as you're trying to piece this all together?
I think the takeaways are pretty clear. First, Anthony Joshua is stable and under observation. He thankfully avoided immediate catastrophic injury, but his recovery timeline is still unknown. Second, the overwhelming tragedy here is the loss of two integral team members, Sagamu and Kevin Iodel.
Absolutely.
And third, The official investigation is really zeroing in on speed and a dangerous maneuver on what we know is a notoriously challenging highway.
This whole incident is just a powerful moment for reflection, isn't it? It shows the vulnerability of modern life, even for a global superstar.
It really does.
And when you dive into the sources, you see how the crash immediately sparked this national discussion about infrastructure and safety. It makes you think about the fragility of it all. How quickly can a peak moment of sporting triumph transform into a national safety debate? All because a personal tragedy exposes a systemic issue on a critical highway. That ripple effect, from halting global sports talks to driving national policy, that's the true scale of this event.